So now we're going to be moving on to cutting a hole in your ceiling. These are pretty easy. Most of the holes that you do cut in a ceiling, whether it be an AC or really any fan, they're all the same dimensions. So that's a 14 by 14 inch hole, and that's pretty standard across the board. So what we're going to do is we're going to trace out our hole, and we're gonna kind of get everything prepped out. Use our step bit, drill our holes to get started, and then we'll use a jigsaw to cut the fan hole out, and then we'll install the fan. We're gonna go install pretty much the entire fan today, but you're not gonna be able to install the fan right away because you need to let everything dry. And it'll make a little bit more sense when we get to that, but very similar to the window that we just did. It's, again, fairly straightforward and fairly simple. We use extra sealants, and we'll show you which sealants to use and where to seal this fan, and you'll never have a leak. We're gonna be installing a Maxxair fan, and in my opinion, that's the better ceiling roof vent that you can install in one of these vans. All right, so this is the trim ring that we use for our fan. We got a little bit fancy. We installed magnets, so we just toss it up there and we're able to trace out the hole that we need to cut. And we don't actually use this one, but again, we sell these, and this is gonna give your fan a little bit more rigidity, and it's also gonna have an area for the fan screws to actually mount to. So the whole system is very robust and will never come off. So we're gonna start off by popping this guy up here. And again, you're looking for this round circle area. This is where we're gonna install this fan. This is the best location to put these fans. And you're gonna center it between your ribs, on top of the van, the little indentation marks, and then center it from front to back. What's nice about doing it this way with this little ring is you don't need to even use a tape measure. You can always make these things too. You can cut your strips, but I prefer using a piece of wood down here to actually mount your fan to. So now that we have this thing squared up and where we want it to go, get our Sharpie. And just an easy little trace out. So you can cut the hole from outside or inside. We like to cut it from the inside. One thing about that is you want to get showered with some metal shavings, so put on a long sleeve shirt and proper eye protection and stuff. But same principle, step bits, and then we'll just jigsaw the hole right out of there. And it's super, super easy. So now we have our nice big hole, and now we start jigging away on this thing. One thing I like to do with the ceiling fans is leave a couple corners attached, so that way the thing comes off and you're able to grab this thing at the end. You can use gaffer's tape, super helpful, but if you leave a couple corners attached, it's pretty easy to catch this thing as it falls down. So now, the piece of metal is just barely hanging on by a couple corners, so we'll go ahead and zip those corners off, and you can just pull the thing right down. There you have it. You have a nice little fan hole. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up cleaning up the cut, and we'll be able to start polishing the edges, sanding those things down, and painting your edges as well, just to make sure you don't get any rust. Just like the window, we're gonna wanna test fit and make sure everything fits, then grind everything out so we make sure that we need to make this hole any bigger. This is one nice thing about these Maxxair fans is you can do everything for pretty much the inside. So we see the trim ring fits, easy to go. Now we can clean it up, get it painted, and actually mount this thing. So pretty straightforward. This is probably one of the easier holes to cut. Don't let this one intimidate you because, again, a necessary little component to your van build is proper ventilation. So, and again, the Maxxair fan's great. because one thing I really like about it is you install this trim ring, and then these little guys right here is where the actual fan mounts to. So if you ever need to remove your fan, you just pop the fan out, and all your sealing surfaces, you know, you don't touch those. So as long as this trim ring doesn't break, this thing is permanently fixed. Where there's other fans, if you need to remove the fan, you need to cut all the stuff off, and you need to pop the whole thing out, and it's just kind of a pain. And then we'll show you a little bit of the function of the Maxxair fan as well, but that is the fan to use. So with these tighter areas, I don't like getting my face too close to a grinder because of that kick. I've been bitten by a grinder before, so learn it from someone else. Don't get bit by a grinder. This is a great place to use files. You're just gonna kind of clean that stuff up, and we'll touch some paint on and drop that thing right in. So super easy, and it's just a little bit of extra prep work, and you just add to the longevity of your van, you know, with little things like touching up the paint and, you know, making sure you do a good job. Maybe the camper life isn't for you after you've had the van for a couple years. All of these little things will improve resale value because everything will be in really, really good shape. Again, touching up with the Rust-Oleum. And this is an important one, especially if you live in a rainy or snowy climate. And also just that perspiration and respiration of making sure you don't get a bunch of rust in your nice fancy camper van. Easy as that, you know. Don't be intimidated by cutting holes in your van, because after you cut a few holes and you get it done right, you feel like a boss. So now we're gonna go back to the workbench, and we're gonna show you how to properly seal this guy up so you don't get any leaks. And you know, it's just, you never wanna do a bunch of nice woodwork or have a nice ceiling and have this stuff get trashed by water. Especially in snow. The snow, you'll find leaks probably more so than in rain, because the snow, like you get a bunch of snow on top of your van and it's just constant perpetual water flowing through that area. So we'll make sure this is nice and tight and sealed up so you guys have a fan that never leaks.